You get just blood from this point on. People begin getting bust open. And there's a lovely bit with Daniel Garcia, which I really appreciate. And they hold him up at one point. Mox gets him up in a heart attack position. And Wheeler Yuta comes off the ropes to deliver the clothesline. And Daniel Garcia becomes the first person pretty much in history. When he's held up in the position for that clothesline, he begins hitting Moxley in a doomed attempt to get out of the move. And it happens anyway. And it's so nice to see wrestlers not just going, I'll wait for this move to happen. Yeah, it's going to probably give you 3 seconds and I'll just wait here and you get Daniel Garcia working really hard to go, everything you are seeing is real. And it just, little bits like that make such a difference, you know. There's a guy called Angelo Parker comes in. He's in a tag team with Daddy Magic, Matt Menard. The two of them have been signed with NXT. They were not really given any screen time. They were dropped. They were picked up by AEW. And the two of them really just rose out of the pack by being put in this position with Jericho to take part in the big matches and just basically go, we can hang with the big guys. And what they do is they really hang with the big guys by taking more punishment in this match than anybody else. Yeah. They are absolutely, by the end of it, bleeding like stuck pegs. It's a really nice job that Angelo Parker does when he comes in, where he's just running away from everyone. And he does it for long enough that you begin going, this is really impressive.
Because he can't escape, because he's in the cage. You go,
yeah, you eventually are going to get caught. But you go, how long can I survive? And then they just take turns battering him. And there isn't a bit where he manages to sort of wriggle out. He just takes an absolute pasting and he lies on the floor. And everyone shrugs, just go, really hurt him. And he never really comes back in the match. Every time you see him, he's just more mashed up. And perfect. You know, kudos to him. Everyone knows what role they're playing in this match. Unfortunately for Angelo Parker, his is just to be leathered. And he does it brilliantly. We get in Ortiz, who does a nice bit where he just starts clotheslining everyone again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And it reminded me of like when you play a wrestling video game and you haven't mastered the moves. And then you start doing a clothesline and for some reason the computer's like, I've got no comeback for this. And you just whack it again and again and again and again and you've got them on 0 health and then you pin them. And it felt like that to me, but I sort of liked it, going, it's good, you know, it's fun to just go, I'm a wrestler and all I do is the clothesline. I'm going to work out how to do a clothesline from every angle. That is my thing. Mox then brings out a bag that's got bits of broken glass in it.
Of course he has.
Pile drives Angelo Dawson right onto the top of it. I mean, there is a line, isn't there, about that thing of just going, you brought a load of broken glass. It's like, well, you bring out a fucking steak knife and stab everyone in the arm, just like slashing at them.
Because we know he didn't get it from his house, because he doesn't have anything in his house.
No, I think he might have broken glass.
He might have broken.
You know, I can imagine him sort
on
of
the
like
floor, like John McClane in a vest,
crawling through like really small cellar windows. That's
all I deserve.
Popped out with his hand. Why didn't you use your keys? Why didn't you use your keys? For fuck's sake.
Life is a key.
I'm going to have to pay for the man to come around and do the window. Fine, bill me. Yeah. I'm definitely going to. He's just walking around at one point just with a bit of broken glass, like the worst person you could ever meet in a Young Offenders Institute. He's really proud of having a bit of broken glass. Cock of the fucking walk.
Screws, I'm going to get this off me.
No.
I'm going to go fucking Bisto. What's Bisto? You'll fucking find out in a minute.
Where did you even get a bit of milk bottle from? Never you mind. Grasses with their noses. What? Starts about the fucking glass. Then comes Santana with a barbed wire bat. He immediately, within 3 moves, absolutely fucks his knee. So he does it a uranagi, better known as a rock bottom. And as he does it, he sort of twists and his knee just goes out. He's in for about a minute and then he's sitting on the side of the cage for the rest of the match. I believe he hasn't actually returned to active duty, and that was months ago. So a serious injury. There must be tinged with a little bit of relief.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Where you've done that and you've gone, legitimately hurt myself, but I did make it in.
Yeah,
you are going to have to pay me.
Yeah. I may not bust myself open, but like we agreed.
There's no point you coming over to me with the glass and stuff like that because I can't do anything.
Can't do anything.
I'm just out of this now, if that's all right. And you would just go, so happy I'm out. That does hurt. It really does hurt. But you know.
And Moxie's got, my glass was hungry.
I've got all these wooden barbecue skewers. Mate, I wish I could. I really wish I could. Do you know what you should do? Do it to Matt Menard. Yeah. Because he's in this. And I just feel like, what am I going to be able to do?
Do the fork thing and then watch as the camera mixers like scramble to find an angle that you can actually see the fork.
Yeah. The Matt Menard bit with the barbecue skewers is, I felt for him here because that is a thing that was started off in Japan and very much done on the indies now in all the death matches where you get those barbecue skewers and a big sort of handful of them, and you whack them in someone's head, and they will remain jutting out. They don't have to go too far in. You get enough of them, and then they fan out.
Like a hedgehog.
Like a hedgehog.
Like a hedgehog cheese display from the 70s.
Exactly that you'd put on pineapple, grape, and cheddar, mild cheddar. The force that Mox does it is hard enough that you go, this is absolutely bust me open terribly. Yeah. But not hard enough that they stick in. And so
too wet.
Matt
Too
Menard
wet,
takes
that's why.
all of the pain. And he doesn't get that brilliant
effect,
image of going, here I am, like an Incan god. You know, it's just like, it just really hurt. Didn't even get the bit afterwards. You would absolutely adore Daddy Magic. He does a lot of very popular this year for doing an interview style where he continually asks what makes his nipples hard.
Hi, Daddy Magic. What are you going to say? You guys got something to say? Huh? Nipples hard? Huh? She said it, not me. You want to know what makes them hard? What's that? Tonight, how about a big Chris Jericho victory?
You know, just fun. I do like that thing of people going, it's my own shtick. And you know what? Throw it up, see if it gets over. And he did. I do like the name Daddy Magic as well. I mean, it's just nonsense. But
there is a bit nipple-wise where somebody holds up a sign saying Claudio has sausage nips. But like,
don't body shame them, man.
But it's just got normal-sized areoli, hasn't it? Areoli?
Areoli.
What have they got against areola?
I don't know.
I love an areola.
Why start doing that? You know, this person's got different standards of beauty than I accept. All right, Vince McMahon, you fucking sign away. Can you tell whether or not I've got sausage nips?
Sausage nips.
And then in comes Jericho, and 10 out of 10, he comes in still wearing that fucking little hat.
Yes.
Which I was just like, perfect, the cherry on the top. You are disgusting. And the hat is, I sort of go, well done. You know, you've exceeded even my limit of going, how much more repulsive. Look at your little hat. He's had such a good 2022.
He has, yeah.
I mean, credit to the bloke. He just is unstoppable. I mean, he seems to, every time you count him out, he comes back better and better. And I have never been a huge fan of Jericho. And I would say over the last couple of years, I've been more of a fan of his and his work than I have been at any other point during his career.
It all started when he tried to colour in his hair with Microsoft Paintbrush.
It did. And when his wife seemingly attended the storming of the Capitol.
That's right, yes.
I think that's given him a sense of going, don't want to be remembered for that.
There's more to it than hitting one move and screaming.
He almost hit Chicago. He was so high in the air.
Oh, but code breaker by Jericho.
Or Toronto.
They're stacking them up like cordwood here in this ring.
There's just a great bit of Jericho coming in and just wiping everybody out, being very happy. And then it coincides with Eddie Kingston entering. And at this point, Kingston and Jericho are having a feud. It's just a lovely bit of Kingston walking in and swatting away everybody as he makes a beeline for Jericho. A furious, slow, determined beeline to a scared Jericho. There's an immediate bit where he hits Jericho a few times with a kendo stick, and then he whips out a bottle of rubbing alcohol. And the good thing about this is I think Kingston's the only wrestler where you think he might legitimately just try and set him on fire. That wouldn't work with Claudio. You just wouldn't believe that he'd do it. When Kingston comes out with an accelerant, you just go, she's just got real. You know, there's something about Kingston that you go, even though you know this is professional wrestling, there's something about you go, that does fit in with your character. Yeah. And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you.
Keep hitting him heavy.
Hall of Fame.
Just keep hitting it as hard as you can. He deserves every stroke, every lash of that kendo stick. Christian, that's rubbing alcohol, isn't it?
Maybe.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly. It
could be anything.
Oh!
Hager, a blindside shot, rocked Kingston and prevented Kingston from pouring that rubbing alcohol.
Well, we assume that's what it is. You don't know what's in it. Who knows, right?
Jake Hager goes through a table. And that's knocked him as limp as a vicar's handshake, says Regal. Just iconic sort of imagery. Jericho squirts the alcohol into a bleeding Moxley's face, and then he begins rubbing thumbtacks into his head. It does look like a bomb's gone off in the ring. There's bodies everywhere. It's blood. Everything's ripped and torn. Yeah. There's bits of masonry all around. It looks shit. And he gets Moxley, having dragged him slowly through the thumbtack, he gets him into the walls of Jericho, at which point Kingston comes back and he smacks a load of tacks into Jericho's face. And Jericho then fires off a fire extinguisher. Don't say they left something on the table. Everything is used. Everything comes into play. At ringside, Ty Conti, who is the wife of Sammy Guevara, then opens the door so that Jericho can attempt to run away. Out comes Ruby Riott, shouts Taz. That's her WWE name. It's Ruby Soho.
Taz.
Everyone continually saying, that's right, Ruby Soho.
Like he hasn't just said Ruby Riott.
Yeah, like the nicest thing I like is JR betraying the fact that he is now an elderly man.
Right.
They're going, that's right, Ruby Soho, going, Ruby, here she comes, Ruby. And he just goes, Ruby, don't take your love to town. And it's that old person thing of,
Gotta say something.
Yeah. Are you hot? Oh, hot in the city. No.
It's only got a song,
Yeah.
It's literally named after her.
Yeah,
So
I'm afraid you've got a very dangerous fever. You give me fever. Just fucking, that's the same use of the word. Well done. But Ruby, don't take your love to town. Oh.
Regal at that point goes, kick her head in, go on, girl. he's gone T-Mob happy.
Well, Ruby Soho! Get him, Ruby!
Kick her head in. Go on, girl.
Kick her head in.
In any other television show, if a man ended up saying the phrase "kick her head in," you just sort of go, "Yeah, it never worked again." Sorry, tell a lie. Went to talk radio. There is a little bit of Jericho climbing up the cage, and Kingston and Jericho are on the top fighting, and up comes Sammy Guevara, and then Sammy gets thrown off the top of the cage and through a table.
Yeah.
Kingston looks absolutely delighted. And again, a nice thing you don't normally see. Normally when someone throws the thing off the cage, everyone's looking down at them and they're carrying on. And the match is about to end, is the other thing. And in this, they just go, Kingston, his character is one that he does that. And rather than go, oh, it needed to be done, he is like, I enjoyed every second of that.
Yum, yum, yum.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Nourished.
I think that because they obviously have to make these tables nowadays look like boxes, so
Yeah.
it kind of dulls the effect. It really does. And I find it sort of like, because it's just a spot that always, I just want people to be hurt.
Why don't we just take away all the padding, Pete, and then you can watch a man fall to his death on some concrete.
But I'm just saying, what would be really funny
On Billy.
if we're expecting to go through a lot of cardboard.
Yeah.
Big spring. Imagine if they're like, boing, and just flung themselves off into the crowd.
That would be. Well, last year at Blood and Guts, Jericho came off the cage and he did land on a bit, the camera angle unfortunately revealed that he'd landed on basically a sort of thin platform, which was on nothing but cardboard boxes and polystyrene.
Yeah.
He did, however, dislocate his elbow.
Right,
doing it. So
right.
it was still dangerous. But I mean, the argument to that is, I suppose you could watch this and the bits with the glass, maybe you become inured to it and you are going, oh, I want to see some guts flop out and push back in. I want to see Sammy Guevara fall to his death.
Thin out the fucking roster a bit, wouldn't it?
Save Tony Khan a
Save
bit of
Tony a
cash.
couple of money.
Oh
It's
my
$1.
God. I mean, what's really good about this, again, is Sammy Guevara going through the thing isn't the end. It goes on for a little bit longer. And what they do really cleverly is you end up with Cesaro with a sharpshooter on Matt Menard on the top of the ring, and then Jericho is in the stretch plum of Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston is determined to get his revenge on Jericho. And what happens is that Menard taps to the sharpshooter of Cesaro, and Kingston is annoyed that he's been robbed of his victory by Cesaro, by Claudio Castagnoli. Again, in that moment, rather than just going, oh, and then they win, they just set up something else and they go, here is another seed, another bit of intrigue, another chapter in the story for you to enjoy. And there was so much of that within this. I thought it finished and I just thought, I love wrestling. Where else would you see something like that? Nowhere else.
It was a real selection, a little Christmas selection box.
It was.
Always something to look at. There was no part of it. It would be actually quite nice to sort of have some kind of choice where you could have 15 cameras all pointing at different, 2 angles per person.
Yeah.
And switch between the few and sort of go back in time and go, right, what was happening at this point?
Do you know what? I mean, there will come a point where virtual reality allows you, in the way that it's been filmed, to basically put on that headset and you will be in those 2 rings and you can move around and look at what's going on. That technology must exist and it must be used by the super rich. And do you know what, Pete? It makes me sick.
Well, I mean, all you would need is a 3D camera on top of someone's head. Yeah. Wouldn't you? Streaming it in VR. Get your Meta Quest 2
If they said to me, you will be in the middle of the ring for the whole of the event and you will be able to interfere. You'll be able to touch nips. You'll be able to stroke hair, and every now and then I would want the wrestlers to look at the man with the camera and they'd just turn and go, you're the best. I wish I was your dad. Yeah, you make me so proud. Thank you, Dolph Ziggler. Have you got something to say to me, Otis? I'm going to crush you. I want to talk to Dolph again.
Oh, dear. Gangrel just licked me.
I'm very much looking forward to the future, which I will enjoy from a nursing home.
Gentlemen, all I can say is thank you and good night.